Hello, viewers. Today we have with us Mr. Ankit Mathur. Welcome, Ankit Mathur, for this interview, and I really thank you for accepting our request and being part of this video series. To begin with, can you tell me or tell us about your journey as a social entrepreneur? Why you have chosen this area? What made you to select this area? If it's a kind of story, if you can share it with us, that will be very interesting to know.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much, Nitish, for having me here.
Yeah.
Um, so I'll try to start from the start,
Yeah, definitely.
which is when I I graduated from my alma mater. I did my post graduation from IIM Ahmedabad
Okay.
year 2008,
Okay.
and I think that was a time when people had just started taking the plunge into entrepreneurship right after
Yeah.
studies. So luckily for me, I had another colleague of mine, another batchmate, who was interested in starting up, and there was a team of four of us who started up something which was
Okay.
related to the field of finance and education. It
Oh,
was
okay.
not. I would not call that a social enterprise, but then that enterprise also did not survive for too long.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Within a year, we had started working uh, on projects that were related to renewable energy, reduction in carbon emissions, etc., etc. And we were trying to help large corporates, community-based organizations, as well as small and medium enterprises to cut down to first estimate their carbon footprint and then also figure out if they could cut that carbon footprint and also look at the possibility of earning any carbon offsets. You know,
Okay.
and that was the business that we started out with a slightly smaller team than what we had earlier.
Hmm. Okay.
Um, and I would say that was that business, and we ran it for a couple of years, between
Okay.
2009 and 2010, was the inspiration for the work that we do today, which is the current organization, Greenway Gramin Infra, wherein we design, manufacture, and distribute products for rural markets.
Rural market.
And
Okay.
the flagship product that we have is a biomass burning cook stove
Hmm.
that cuts down on the firewood consumption or any other
Okay.
biomass that people use,
Hmm.
and also causes a reduction in emissions when you compare that to a mud cook stove being used or
Okay.
or an open fire being used for cooking.
Hmm.
So the main product uh, actually reduces the drudgery for women, saves time for them because it's mostly women and children who go out collecting
Yeah.
wood in
Hmm.
rural areas, and finally it has a beneficial impact on the environment
Environment.
by
Yeah.
ensuring that the amount of carbon emissions that you have from cooking
Hmm.
reduce. Uh, Globally, it's a big problem.
Yeah.
More than 3 billion people still use biomass for
That is
cooking,
true.
right? And even in India, it's still a big problem.
Big problem.
There have
Yeah.
been steps that have been taken by various governments.
Hmm.
The latest one being Ujjwala, but the problem persists. And even though there are gold standards to actually cooking cleanly, based on electricity or LPG or pipe
Hmm.
natural gas,
Hmm.
you still need interventions like ours
Yeah.
to that are step above the mud cook stove that people
Yeah.
use,
Yeah.
especially at the base of the pyramid where people cannot afford a pipe natural gas connection or LPG cylinders again and again, right? So that is broadly our business: design, manufacturing, and distribution.
Distribution. Okay.
At this point, we are more than 150 people in the team. We started out as just three members, and it's been I would say quite an enriching and exciting journey, and it
Okay.
continues. Now the world is moving towards carbon neutrality, and
Yeah.
clean cook stoves happen to be one of the ways to actually cut down on carbon emissions in a
Yeah.
very economical manner, which is
Yeah.
also socially impactful. It empowers women of the households, And there are other co-benefits related to livelihoods, more money coming into the hands of operators and people who actually are in the business of manufacturing and distributing it, etc., etc.
Okay. So, what made you to select this particular area, like renewable energy, and then shifting into the same domain with the slightly change in your product? What made? Is there any particular reason you ventured into this, or what is the? How did you find the opportunity in this area?
Yeah, thanks for asking it, and kind of getting the discussion into a what should I say,
Yeah.
a more in a clearer format, because
Yeah.
with storytelling, people tend to get excited and tell you all sorts of details.
Yeah.
But I'll try to stick to the questions that you asked. Now, when we were doing our earlier business of consulting and looking at various initiatives that cut down on carbon emissions, what we realized was that there's a dearth of products and business models that serve rural households, right?
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of businesses that cater to urban poor, that also cater to the middle income group in urban areas. But there's a dearth of business models that cater to the middle income group in rural areas.
Rural
All
area.
right, and what tends to happen is that a lot of FMCG companies, durable companies, they tend to kind of scale down the products rather than innovate to serve certain requirements that are unique to rural living, right?
Yeah.
So what we thought was that because there is this large white space in terms of provision of these products and services, professionals like us could actually make a difference by designing products and then working on successful or large scale distribution for it. And India is a large country. I mean,
Yes.
if you succeed in any product or service, getting to 1 million customers is something that will happen.
Yeah, that is true.
And on that count, I should mention that we've now distributed more than 1 million cook stoves,
Wow.
and we would like to do another 1 million in 3 years now. It took us almost 10 years to get to the first 1 million.
Wow.
We want to do
Yeah.
another 1 million in 3 years, and then the next 1 million should happen every year.
Every year.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
and that is something which is possible. That is something that the opportunity provides. So if you ask me, why did you take,
Yeah.
why are you excited about this opportunity? It's because it's a big problem.
Hmm.
The product or the service that we're providing can be scaled up to a size where it can have a real impact.
Yeah.
And it allows us to look at things as product designers, managers, implementers, and leave something which is scalable,
Scalable. Yeah.
which impacts a lot of people. So that I would say.
Okay. Okay. So just now you mentioned you recently touched 1 million sales of cook stoves actually. So within a span of 10 years, right?
Yeah, so the cumulative sales
Yeah.
at the end of I would say FY21, that is
Oh,
year ending March 31st,
21st.
21,
Okay.
we touched a total of 1.2 million, of which 240,000 were done last year itself.
Oh,
So
okay.
we are clearly growing, and we think that we can grow to something like 500, 600,000 in the next year or so.
Okay.
Had the pandemic not been as severe
Yeah.
as it is right now, and if the distress in rural incomes would not have been as bad as it is, I believe that some of these successes would have been faster.
Yeah. So my next question was about on same concept itself. Now, due to this pandemic, whether the present condition has impacted your business in terms of sales and growth?
Yeah, absolutely, Nitish. I would say that the challenge is that when you look at the headline numbers, things don't look as bad. But when you look at the personal tragedies and the and the problems that a lot of people are going through, it's pretty bad. And most of our sales happen in fairly deep rural places where it's difficult to reach, and with this whole break in supply chain, with this whole pandemic, you do not have vehicles to reach these places. You do not
Yeah.
have the allied services to serve the primary supply chain providers. So and that is the reason why things are getting worse from bad.
Okay.
I would not say that people have suddenly stopped earning.
Hmm.
That's not true. But the challenge is that you find it more difficult to go do a demonstration to your
Yeah.
people. You find it more difficult to get the product to a customer that is interested
Hmm.
in paying for the product. I mean,
Okay.
if if you look at the real need, people have started understanding the real need even more now. So
True.
there are more inquiries,
Yeah.
but we find it more difficult to serve
Reach
the
them.
consumers at this
Yeah.
point in time.
So basically, it's a supply chain issue you're facing.
I would say that, and that's one. And the second thing is that global commodity markets have been on the rise over the last
Hmm.
year and a half. If you look at any commodity that includes steel, aluminum, copper,
Yeah.
nickel, chromium, oil, everything is rising,
Rising.
right?
Yeah, that
And
is true.
and at a time when the rural incomes are not rising as quickly,
True.
we cannot expect our consumers to pay more for our products.
Yeah,
And,
very well said.
and so we either need to finance them for longer, or
Oh,
we need to subsidize the product, correct?
yeah, yeah,
And
true.
for a small company like ours, uh, we do not have the financial wherewithal to actually subsidize the product,
Hmm.
or provide a long term financing for a
Hmm.
product which sells for what, 2,500 3,000 rupees at best, right? So once you start really interacting with consumers, you
Yeah,
realize that it's not just one problem that you're dealing with.
yeah,
There's
so
a plethora of problems, and
yeah,
and if you really want to make an impact, you'll have to solve at least some part of each and every one of them.
it's all
Uh,
linked.
yeah, it's all linked. You cannot work in a silo and say that, listen, I'm going to produce this. You
Yeah,
can take it from my factory gate.
yeah, so
Nobody's
not
going to come to your factory gate. You
true.
have to go to the consumers. You have to
Yeah,
do demonstrations. You have to do the marketing. You have to collect money from them. If they can pay digitally, then have the infrastructure for collecting it
correct.
digitally. If they
Yeah,
cannot pay digitally, then have the reconciliation infrastructure to actually
mm,
do that yourself, right?
yeah. So
And that is what you realize after doing your business, that you have to solve all of these issues.
issues. Okay, okay. Now, having seen these issues and we discussed about the challenges, uh, how did you plan your growth during pandemic? Have you done any strategies, or are you working on any strategies so that you will overcome this and you are able to achieve your the number what you are predicting, like then next 3 years or another 1 million sales? So, what is the strategy you have?
So Nitish, we have been very lucky to find really good partners to work with.
Huh.
I believe you might be aware of a trust called Dharmsthala Trust, which
Yes.
is right where you are,
Yes,
right?
near to us.
And
Yeah.
yes, so their MFI happens to be one of our largest partners
Oh,
for distribution and financing for the product.
oh, okay.
So, and similarly in other areas, we have found similar financing outreach and distribution
Mhm.
partners.
Oh, okay.
Wherein what what we do is that we take the product to the end consumers.
Mm.
The end consumers are able to uh, put an application to the financing partner, and that application,
Eh,
when it's approved, we get paid the money, and the customer gets the product, and
mm.
then the collection from the consumer happens from by this partner.
By
All
this.
right?
Oh, okay, okay.
So this is the model that has
Mm.
allowed us to grow over the last 5 or 6 years
Yeah.
of our journey,
Mm.
right? And we believe that we have to make it easier for similar partners to work with us.
Mm.
We have to engage both with the end customer and the partner a little more,
Yeah.
right? And so we have been talking to more and more organizations like that.
Mm.
We have also been investing in our own data collection and digital infrastructure to be
Okay.
able to make it easier for any financing partner to work with us, right?
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
currently with microfinance institutions,
Mm.
what happens is that they have their local areas in which they work.
Yeah.
where the physical infrastructure is there to collect money from people.
Mm.
Now with the advent of digital lending,
Yeah.
digital banking, you can technically do all of this based on the data that you collect from the consumer, right?
True. True.
And we are we are currently trying to get to a point where
Mm.
we are able to collect this data beforehand and
Okay.
work with any financing partner that might be able to work with us. You know,
Oh.
Now financing and banking in India is a highly regulated industry. So
Mm.
it's not that you and I can just go and lend money and borrow money, etc.,
True.
etc.
True.
So it requires a bit of work. It requires a bit of
Yeah.
relationship management, etc., etc. So that's
Mm.
one part related
Mm.
to financing. The other part that we feel will really help us is the push towards carbon neutrality, which is
Okay.
forcing a lot of large enterprises, especially in US and Europe,
Mm.
to buy carbon offsets,
Okay.
to decrease the
Yeah.
overall emissions.
Emissions. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And if they buy carbon offsets,
Mm.
they in a way can subsidize the product that we have.
Okay. Yeah.
So even though we've not found uh, buyers that will completely subsidize the product,
Mm.
so that we can just give it away for free,
Yeah.
have certain buyers that can give us a maybe 20-30% subsidy on the product.
Okay. Okay.
And if that is so, then this and as the price of carbon increases, this 20-30 may change to 40-50,
Mm.
maybe 60,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
At which point it might make it easier for us to reach out to even poorer population,
Mm.
right? That needs the product more, but is not able to buy it even on financing.
Yeah.
So that these are the two things that we've been doing.
Mm.
Other than this, we have also started expanding internationally.
Oh, okay.
Last
That's
year,
interesting. Okay.
last year we sent a consignment of over 100,000 stoves to
Oh,
Zambia,
wow. Okay.
across 14, 15, I would say 10 months, but then the shipment time is 4 months. So you
Mm.
send everything, and then 4 months later it lands there, and then you go to
Yeah.
the department.
Yeah.
So it's a long cycle. But we started understanding global supply chains a little better.
Okay.
We started interacting with partners internationally,
Mm.
and we believe that this same method of financing and subsidy through
Mm.
carbon would also apply in other
Countries.
geographies outside of India. Exactly.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
these are the ways and means in which we are hoping to expand the business.
Okay, that's really interesting actually. And yeah, now you are an international player also because you just started exporting your
Yeah,
congrats on
fingers
that.
crossed.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Okay, now since when you said about you're also now in international market, how is the response from other countries apart from Zambia? Other countries, whether you approached and what is their kind of feedback you received on your product?
So Nitish, the product gets really good feedback wherever we
Mm.
trial it, because it's been tried and tested over many years
Yeah,
by real cooks in the house.
yeah,
Okay,
true.
and to be honest, what we've seen is that the moment we do a demonstration and we hand the product over to a woman, uh, the woman of the community is able to give a better demonstration than anyone
True.
coming to give the demonstration.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the community trusts the
Mm.
woman.
Yeah.
She's able to quickly adapt
Mm.
to the product and
Mm.
really appreciate the finer points
Mm.
as a cook.
Cook.
Right?
Yeah.
And that is something that has been consistent across
Mm.
markets. So we've
Mm.
exported to Nepal, Bangladesh, Kenya,
Mm.
Uganda, Ghana, all of these
Oh,
places.
oh,
You know,
okay.
so uh, so we have tried a small number of trials just about everywhere.
Mm.
Wherever the product could see a market.
Mm.
I think what we require now is a more concerted strategy for international growth.
Yeah.
Part of it will come from having more capital at hand. Part
Mm.
of it will come from just having better distribution relationships,
Mm.
right? And that is something that we are trying to do.
Oh,
Right?
Okay, that's interesting. Now, since you raised the topic of this capital and distributors network, since you work on a very niche area called renewable energy, and you're also a social entrepreneur who's trying to solve a problem in that area. When you approach for funding, how was the feedback, or what is the feedback you received from the market where you are working and from a funding partner? What kind of feedback you received?
Okay, so Nitish, we have predominantly been revenue funded over the last, I would say, 7 or 8 years of
Oh,
our
okay,
existence. It
okay.
was only in the initial few years that we felt the need to actually apply for grants,
Hmm.
to reach out to certain angel investors, etc., etc. I mean, we were lucky to find some angels right at the
Oh,
start. We also had a very active set of advisors who helped us,
hmm.
sharpen our communication, both to investors as well as our end customers,
Hmm.
and we are grateful to them.
Okay.
Uh, when it comes to institutional investors, I
Yeah.
think there uh, you need to show some proof of concept
Hmm.
in terms of being a uh, being a revenue generating enterprise,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially if it's an old economy company. I mean, we are an
Hmm.
old economy company. We are not in the digital space. We are
Yes.
not in the business of creating platforms that can scale
Hmm.
up
True.
disproportionately
True.
fast.
You're a capital intensive industry because
Also,
manufacturing. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So from that perspective, we were able to raise institutional capital only after we started generating
Revenue.
revenue.
Hmm.
And I would say that again, we were invested into by a couple of impact funds
Okay.
that are globally present,
Hmm.
right, and also invest in India. And that was almost 6 years ago now.
Okay.
I mean, currently we are not actively looking for
Hmm.
capital in
Okay.
terms of equity, but it would be interesting to actually structure finance for our end customers. What we
Oh,
understand is
okay.
that finally it's the end customers that have to buy the
Bye.
product.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. True.
The money has to go into their hands for
Yeah.
it to come to us.
True. True.
So
Yeah.
we cannot expect to raise equity and
Yeah.
then just distribute stoves for free. I mean, that's never going to happen,
Happen.
right?
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so, so the challenge here is slightly different
Different. Yeah.
from platform businesses that
Yeah.
are able to create a platform, draw in equity and then make money on that platform for a
Hmm.
long period of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would be my answer.
Okay. Uh, Now, suppose a person wants to start his career as a social entrepreneur. What is that one advice you would like to give him?
Well, I would say that you got to be open about taking risks. You
Yeah.
have to be open with accepting failures and changing your direction quickly enough, and
Okay.
realizing what exactly is it that makes you succeed. In our
Hmm.
case, the design and manufacturing, apart from distribution, is what makes us succeed. So
Hmm.
and that is what we focus on. So
Okay.
eventually, for each social entrepreneur, he or she has to understand what exactly is the thing that makes him or her succeed.
Hmm.
Quickly get there. While you're getting there, it's okay to fail. It's okay to not have money. It's okay to borrow money.
Yeah.
And try to get the support of your loved ones as much as possible,
That's
because
very important.
if they
Yeah.
keep nagging you that why are you doing this, you will
Yeah.
not be able to do whatever you're doing.
True.
So
True. True. That
those
is
would
true.
be my two
Okay,
words.
that's very interesting to hear about your point of view and kind of advice for a future social entrepreneur. Okay, if you can share about your milestone, whatever you achieved in your business, that will be very interesting because apart from achieving this 1 million sales in terms of staff, what is that impact you can measure and you can share it with our viewers? That will be very interesting.
Sure. So one of the good things is that in my business, I'm able to measure the impact very clearly in terms of the number of units that are deployed.
Yes.
Right? So
Yeah.
each unit that is actively being used by a consumer uh, creates carbon reductions. It creates time savings for women.
Mm. Mm.
It also allows for lesser particulate matter in the house, possibly leading to better
Mm.
health outcomes. It is difficult to quantify them, but anecdotally that should be the case.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in terms of hard numbers, we have been partnering with offset project developers for almost
Mm.
8 or 9 years now.
Okay.
And Greenway stoves would have been responsible for upwards of 2.5 to 3 million carbon offsets till date.
Okay. Oh,
You know,
okay. That's a big
uh,
number.
yeah. And in terms of the time saved,
Mm.
typically women save upwards of 300 hours every year when they use our stove compared to their
Mm.
mud cook stove.
Wow. Okay.
So you can talk about possibly more than a billion hours saved on account of the use of our stoves.
Strauss. Okay.
Um, and and in terms of particulate matter, I
Yeah.
must say that we need to do more work in terms of both predicting what
Mm.
exactly is the effect,
Mm.
what exactly is the impact, and also quantifying it. So that's an area of work for us. Uh,
Okay. Okay, so it's very interesting. Yeah, I think we have come to an end of this video interview. I really thank Mr. Ankit for sharing your journey as a social entrepreneur, and I wish you all the very best for your future. Thank you. Thank you again.
Thank you, Nitish.
Yes.